legal practitioner and political affairs analyst. Fred, it's great to see you again this morning.
Good to be with you, Yori. Good morning, sir.
Our pleasure. So here we are, and we're just crossing the T's, dotting the I's. We've been hearing from everybody that this election will be free and fair. The 2023 election is going to be free and fair. President Buhari says, if I don't do any other thing, the legacy that a free and fair election will be conducted, that is enough for him. Okay, but in the Southeast, not a negligible chunk of the country, the fears are that voters could, God forbid, be disenfranchised if care is not taken. And of course, we're referring here to the situation in the Southeast where, as is well known, on Mondays, there's an order coming from the separatist group IPOB, IPOB. The leader had said that that was a measure that should be adopted. But upon cries, from his own very public, that this was really being very, very difficult, he withdrew that, instruction. Unfortunately, other people have picked it up. I don't know why anybody would pick it up if the acknowledged leader of the separatist IPOB has said, call it off. But here we are. So now, INEC is concerned, trepidation. Should I say INEC is afraid? But this is a security issue, and people have been killed, people have been injured at the very best. Can you imagine saying best to be injured? It has been that bad. So then when INEC was going to, commence this exercise of issuing PVCs, people wouldn't come out to take them. And they're up to what? I think at somewhere in the region of 1,000 or so? No, about 100,000. The figure escapes me now, but we're looking at a total of about 11 million voters that could be compromised if care is not taken. What do you think of this situation? Is it making a mountain out of an anthill, or is it a legitimate concern?
Let me start by correcting an impression. I don't think it is right to describe Nnamdi Kanu as a separatist.
No, IPOB.
Nnamdi Kanu.
I didn't. IPOB.
The leader of IPOB.
Yes. IPOB is a separatist organization. No, IPOB.
I feel it is rather more opposite to describe that organization as a self-determination agitators.
Okay.
Self-determination agitators. Because if you use the word separatist, it may not convey the right terminology. So, but let's leave that.
Okay, so self-determination group on the one hand, the separatist group, you say you don't like that.
Self-determination group.
Okay.
Now, the foundation to all this, you see, these things didn't start just today.
Okay.
It has a trajectory. It has a historical trajectory that what led to it. We won't belabor our dear viewers with what led to it, because virtually everybody.
When you're saying what led to it, you were talking about the inconvenient order that nobody should come out on a Monday.
What led to even the agitation generally?
Well, that's going far back.
That is going far back. That's why I say we won't go far back, because we all know it.
Don't come out on Monday in the Southeast.
What led to don't come out on Monday in the Southeast is as a result of federal government failure, intentional failure to obey lawful orders of court, pure and simple.
And so this is where
now
it is also known that this whole idea about instructing the people to not come out on Monday at the risk of great risk.
We're laying the foundation. We're laying the foundation.
Yes.
The federal government,
because the whole idea is to persuade the federal government to release Nnamdi Kanu, which government is not minded to doing right now.
Pure and simple. Thank you, Yori, for this clear understanding. It is the federal government that fetched ant-infested firewood, and he's being visited by a horde of lizards that have come to feast on the ants.
But Nnamdi Kanu himself has said,
cancel
the action.
The collateral damage is now on the people. Nnamdi Kanu.
He's the person causing the trouble.
Nnamdi Kanu is not the one causing the trouble.
No, but by that order that he then withdrew.
It is the federal government that is causing the problem.
Okay.
Let us not.
We won't tussle on that.
You can't win this argument. So let us not.
I don't even want to argue.
Let us not return on this argument.
Well, I don't want to argue. I don't want to argue.
Now, because he who goes to equity must go with clean hands. We operate constitutional democracy, and the bulwark of democracy is the respect for the rule of law.
I hear you.
And if the government cannot respect rule of law, what do you expect the citizens, some of whom cannot even read the pages of the Constitution, what do you expect them to do? So let us just rest it there and lay the blames appropriately where they should be laid.
Okay, but we don't even want to go to
we
want to go to the effect on the election next year.
Now we are going to the effect. What led to the origin, the foundational origin of this sit at home was Nnamdi Kanu says, or rather IPOB said, anytime their leader was going to court, they should, in sympathy, sit at home. They felt there was no need going to hustle, do your business, go to work, when the man who is fighting for our own right and self-determination is in unlawful custody. Unlawful in quote, because as far as the people are concerned, he is in unlawful custody. So anytime they are taking him to court, let us show him solidarity. And that is why anytime he's going to court, you see a lot of people even besiege the court premises. He on his own has said it stops there. But there are some others who, either out of sympathy or out of whatever reason, very, very best known to them.
Maybe a bit misguided.
Maybe would want sit at home to be perpetrated every Monday.
Even though the leader has said,
if a man uses his skull, his head, to sacrifice for the good of the land, will he partake in the goodness of the land thereafter? Nobody wants to be a sacrificial lamb because there are some renegades, some misguided elements, you may say, who would want to enforce such sit at home. Some people call them criminals, but they themselves believe they are not.
But they're killing people.
That they are enforcing what they felt should be enforced.
People, maiming people, killing people.
I'm not holding brief for them at all.
I hear you.
I am only telling you what they say and what they feel,
but
which on its own is utterly wrong because it is affecting the business, the economy, the lives of the people.
Exactly. And now also potentially the election.
Now,
upcoming election.
Don't forget that as far as people are concerned, they are even mouthing that no referendum, no election, no election. All right? It's the chair that if there will not be any referendum for them to determine whether to be or not to be, that there should not be election in their enclave.
Okay.
But then, on the other side, the authorities will say they are overreaching themselves.
Because we have constituted governance.
That's
and all
what the
that.
authorities
It goes
will
without
say,
saying.
that they are overreaching themselves. That they should not be, that the government should not be stampeded into holding a referendum. And they will begin to cite examples all around the world where referendums are used as medium of determination of relationship in any geographical environment. Again, that is a story and a debate for another day. Election is coming next year.
Yes.
INEC has mapped out dates for collection of permanent voters cards. Permanent voters card, which everybody knows is the basic tool for voting, is the basic tool for participation in the electoral process. So many people have not collected their PVC. I was in Anambra State last
year. They say 930,000.
Let me use Anambra.
Almost a million.
Let me use Anambra as a case study.
Sure.
In Anambra State, in my own local government, over 7,000 PVCs. Let's say 7,000. No, it's more than that. In a particular community alone, over 7,000 PVCs were not collected.
That is
I now interacted,
new voters.
yes, new ones. I now interacted with Resident Electoral Commissioner, the lady in Oka, and she said over 146,000 PVCs are yet to be collected in Anambra State. If you extrapolate this figure around the southeast, you multiply that by 5. If you take that as a base figure, and multiply that by 5, you're looking at close to 800,000 PVCs not yet collected.
In fact, the figure is 930,000.
So you can, I mean, I'm telling you what I saw physically. So the information you have about 900 and something thousand, I am confirming to you that it is correct. But then, the question will be, why would people not want to collect their PVCs? There are so many problems.
Fear is the primary one.
Fear is the primary one. And what has led to fear? Lack of security. The incessant attacks on the lives and properties of people, including INEC officials and their facilities.
Which is our subject matter today.
Which is our subject matter for today. We only try to lay the foundation.
Exactly.
What has led to this? Because, like we say in our on the street, that there's no smoke without fire.
Yeah.
It is that fire that has caused the smoke that is disturbing everybody. The next thing is, what do we do? And that is very important. It is important that INEC as an organization, and especially political parties, because I can tell you, Yori, that political parties have failed in that responsibility of mass mobilization of the electorates. They're only interested in vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. That tool with which people will vote for them, the tool is lying there in INEC's office, uncollected, the PVCs.
And then INEC has said no PVC,
and
no
INEC
vote,
has said
no voting.
no PVC, no voting. So you will now find out that any campaign that does not encourage people to collect their PVCs would have achieved success by half. If you are campaigning for people to vote for you, you should also campaign for people to collect their PVCs, to be enabled to vote.
Okay, that is the part that you say is missing.
It is that aspect.
Not emphasizing that part of the process.
Yes, that is still missing.
In the electioneering going on.
It is still missing. Yes, there was a time when there was a huge campaign, even by faith-based organizations, the NGOs, and a lot of stakeholders about go get your PVC, go get your PVC. But what is happening today is that in the course of that campaign, some people who recall that there was a time there was a rumor that PVC had expired. It caused a problem. Then that rumor came out that PVC had expired, that people had to go and revalidate their PVC. It was in the heat of that campaign when people were being encouraged to go and get their PVCs. So many people now went to register. And from what I gathered from INEC, in any event where there are double registration, one must be knocked off. And usually, it is the later one that usually knocked off. If you are registered last year and you come back to register this year, this year's own will be knocked off by the system. The person will now be coming with the information given to him about this year without knowing that that particular PVC has not been upheld by the system. When you go to INEC's office, they arrange these PVCs according to wards and according to polling booths. You come mention your town, your ward, and your booth. They'll go straight and bring out your PVC. But if there was a mismatch of information, you find out that the PVC may not be found. And another thing that INEC officials need to do is to increase their volume of patience. They seem to lack adequate manpower that will be patient enough to kindly search for these PVCs and hand them over to the people. Because once there's a surge of people demanding for their PVCs, the few hands that are there,
it will overload the system.
It will be overloaded. And they won't be able to attend to them. And if you go there today, go there tomorrow, and you don't get your PVC, an average Nigerian voter will get discouraged and he will not go again. And what happens? That person is disenfranchised. So a whole lot of work needs to be done between now and the next election?
Yeah, a whole lot of work needs to be done. And I don't know, when you look at it, it's either the people who are, you know, doing all these, instilling fear in the people by trying to uphold a thing that Nnamdi Kanu himself has withdrawn from. You know, they may mean well, but it's certainly not helping, because if they are sticking to their guns, you can't force government. It's going to be by negotiation, as you put it. Working on the issue, working on the problem takes many different formats. But you say a whole lot of work needs to be done in that regard.
Let us even limit our, assuming we want to limit our narratives to the people who genuinely and honestly want to get their PVCs. What are the bottlenecks? What are the challenges they are facing? What are the issues? Why can't they get their PVCs?
Well, there are quite a few of them.
Yeah, so,
you've actually mentioned one or two of them.
There's quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Then you may not worry so much about people who ordinarily do not believe in the electoral process and who don't even want the election to hold. That one, no one would. Those ones need deliverance, so to speak. Those ones will need more talking to before they even come on the same page with you. But those who honestly will want to be part of this election and who have gone to get their biometrics captured and they are waiting to get PVC. Some of them have been deceived by some statement that came out sometime that even if you have your permanent, your temporary voter's card, that you'll be able to vote.
Yeah, okay. That was missing.
That misinformation.
That was misinformation.
Also was a problem. And many of them now relapse and say, oh, instead of me to go all the way to the local government headquarters to go collect my PVC, now that economy is so tight, cost of transportation is so high, and you are going to spend money, go and come. And sometimes you go there, you are not going to meet INEC officials. I can tell you this.
Okay.
You're not going to meet INEC officials. And the poor man, it happens.
Don't forget that it's a hostile environment.
Well,
it's a very hostile environment.
That is also a major factor.
That is.
Because the officials themselves are always looking over their shoulders.
Exactly.
Always looking over their shoulders.
The resident electoral commissioner, I think, in Anambra State said as much.
Always looking over their shoulders.
That she doesn't.
Because you cannot fling your door open and you sit in the office comfortably. You say you are an INEC officer because you wouldn't know when an attack will come.
Exactly.
That is the major challenge. So what they will adopt is more or less, you know, the police, they adopt this motorized patrol. Maybe INEC has to adopt that motorized dishing out of voters' card. I don't know. Some ingenious way has to be found out for people to be able to.
Let me bring on Mr. George, who has called in from Ikeja. Good morning to you, Mr. George.
Yes, good morning, Uncle Yori, and greetings to your guests.
Thank you.
Uncle Yori, truth must be told. The insecurity in the Southeast is basically the making of the elites in the Southeast. The Nnamdi Kanu problem didn't start today. They are the ones who were instigating him. They thought if they use Nnamdi Kanu and his machinery, they could use it to get a political gain. Now it seems to be backfiring. And it is the ordinary man in the street in the East that is suffering it. It's very, very unfortunate. Your guest said that it is the refusal of federal government to release or to obey court order regarding Nnamdi Kanu that caused the insecurity. That is absolutely not true. Nnamdi Kanu had been in his game before this insecurity. The insecurity itself, he was the one that formed a military wing of his agitation former. He launched a radio station. The people were being killed. And where is it stated in our constitution that you can, if you want a country of your own, you can organize a referendum? If you are the government and somebody is trying to cause education or insecurity and make life ungovernable in the country, will you allow that person to have his way? Truth must be told. Now, the insecurity that was instigated by these people. Okay, when did you hear Ohane Bendigo condemning the activities of Nnamdi Kanu.
Well,
But rather, they would come to the fair
okay, I was going to...
and be asking the government that it is a precondition you will release our son. They are not bothered about what their son has done.
Well, okay.
For every situation, there is a cause. If you don't address the cause, you can never address the effects.
But
there are so many things.
Ohaneze Ndigbo has said in the past, in the recent past, that viewpoint is unfair. That they actually are not, as people are insinuating, supporting and propping up.
Uncle Yori, I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah, you must have heard it.
Action speaks louder than words. Okay. What they are saying is different from what they are doing. How many governors and how many lawyers, like the one sitting with you in the Southeast, have come out openly to condemn what IPOB is doing? They won't do it. They think they can use IPOB to achieve a political thing.
Okay.
Now it is backfiring. That is the truth of the matter.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr.
Sorry,
George. Fortunately, yes.
Mr. George spoke from a very prejudiced, jaundiced mind, born out of hatred. I can tell you this because he is crassly ignorant of the goings on in the Southeast. Dear.
You know, I suspected he might get to that.
Completely ignorant of what is going on. He just spoke, he just pandered to the gallery and then made himself happy.
You know, but I was going to say that you yourself had said that you were not holding brief. You yourself had said you were not holding brief.
I'm not the spokesman of APA.
Yes, and that you were not holding brief for them.
If you ask this George,
well, Mr.
If you ask Mr. George, if he had ever touched his foot on the Southeast, you'd be surprised the answer you will get.
You'd be very surprised. The man moves around a lot. I just
don't want
sit
down in Lagos or wherever he is and form an opinion about a people and begin to run to town with it.
You know what? Can I make an appeal for it?
It's very unfair on him to accuse Ohaneze and the elite of the Southeast of supporting insecurity in the region. Yeah. That is very, very unfair. Okay. And meanwhile, he does not even want to touch the issue that has originally led to the insecurity. Did he start today? And what foundationally caused it? Did he talk about federal government insistence on keeping a man over and above the pronouncement of the courts of the Federation, high courts, here and there, Court of Appeal, once and here and there?
You know,
let's not waste time. I don't want to join issues with minds like this. When the opinions are fair, you say me, analyze it. But when the opinions are jaundiced and massively prejudiced, I pick no interest.
You know, we wanted to sort of look at the subject
matter.
The issue is that 11 million voters, there is the could be the right to vote could be compromised.
Do you recall that during the build-up to the elections in Anambra State, the last election that I held in the Southeast was the governorship election in Anambra State on 6th of November 2021. Before that election, there was massive spate of insecurity in Nigeria. There was huge insecurity, in Anambra State. But somehow, as election approached, the things kind of simmered down and we had election.
That's right. That's right.
That was adjudged to be free, fair, and credible.
Exactly. So it can be
done.
So
it can be
like
done.
We meandered our way.
We will continue to meander our way, but we need to do what we should do.
Yeah.
Both as a government and as a people.
You have said that you are not holding brief for IPOB.
Both as a government and as a people.
I am in no position to hold brief for the federal government. What is the global Igbo group? Ohaneze Ndigbo. You know, we have seen them. Everybody has their own opinion. We have seen them come on air and, refute the claim of Mr. George.
Not once, not twice, not thrice, on several occasions. And they have continued to encourage people and even admonish those who caused the problem to see their soul.
But then his charge is that, well, yes, be that as it is, but what they do is so I don't want it to become sort of a discussion on the whole concept of Biafra.
But you know why? You know why
we
we
want
have
to,
to. You know why we have to tie this?
Yes.
To the personality of Nnamdi Kanu. Anytime Nnamdi Kanu regains his freedom, the people who try to fight against the state seem to go to sleep.
Okay, you know what? In fact, so much so that I forgot Fidel. Forgive me, Fidel. I got the notification that you were on air. I just wanted to sort of keep this within the context of the coming elections and the challenges for people to be able to properly vote there. A fine morning to you, Fidel. Thank you very much for holding on. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Chief Fidel Onyenek, and I'm calling from Yori.
Good morning,
sir. I want to say that the insecurity in the southeast is as a result of marginalization, as a result of inequity, and as a result of deprivation. That was what led IPOB to come up with what they are doing today. And it must be handled in such a way that, yes, Nnamdi Kanu might be in incarceration, but there should be deliberate effort to ensure that the people are assuaged by engaging them and doing those things that will make them feel happy.
Fidel, you know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has withdrawn that, is it an order, is it an injunction? He has withdrawn it. So if he has withdrawn it and he is the leader of the proscribed IPOB, why would anybody else now say that they are upholding it? That is part of the challenge.
No. You see, leaders and so on. The issue is not just Nnamdi Kanu. Even though his release might go a long way in assuaging the people, but the issue is ensuring that there is equity and there is justice. That's what the people of the East are crying about. And now that we are going for elections, there is every need to talk to the people to also make sure that NS facilities and police stations are protected so that people will have the confidence to go and cast their votes. It requires a lot of confidence on the part of the people, and the only way it can be done is by making sure that they are given a playing ground in terms of securing them as they move in to vote for their candidates, for the candidates of their choice.
But they are not. The issue right now, Fidel, as we are talking about, is that they won't even come out to get the instrument with which they can vote because they are fearful.
They can come out if you go and talk to them using traditional leaders, engaging them, and then making sure that as they go to collect these PVCs, that they are protected.
They are safe. Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you very much, Fidel. We'll come back and continue along these lines. Please stay with us, and we do want to hear from you all over the country, and particularly in the region. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
Politics is defined as getting what, where, when, and how. But in the mix, many things come to play to shape the political fortune of any country.
Honorable Minister, that's how you misinform the public.
From the political actors to the electorate, campaign to voting, from debates to policy decisions, big events happen to engage us in constant conversation.
That's what we're looking for. Not some people who are talking about ethnicity. No.
Who is on your mind?
Don't worry.
Join me every day on Politics Tonight, where we dissect issues that shape our political destiny. Politics Tonight, weekdays on TVC News.
Welcome back, and we're looking at the challenge of the fear of the people in the Southeast generally to go collect their PVC as a possible reason that it might be compromising the 2023 elections in that area. Up to 11 million voters are in that area. But in the meantime, and we've been looking at this, in the meantime, Daniel Momo has called in from Port Harcourt. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
How are you this morning?
Very well, thank you.
Okay. Interesting you are discussing, and then to be fair to all sides, everywhere in the country is marginalized. It is not just the people of the Southeast. Before now, under INEC, this alert rule, Anambra, for example, is one of the hotbeds for insecurity when it comes to election, in terms of trickery, in terms of fighting, and all of that. But the Southeast generally, I think that we must, when we come to the table to have a true conversation, we must be sincere with ourselves. The incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu has actually elevated some of these issues that you see today. And those cases are in court. But I tell you today, of the truth, that if that man is released this morning, but in the absence of this, because cases are in court, and then we need to move forward as a country, as a people, we must begin to...
Thank you very much for calling in, Daniel. Even though you were cut off unexpectedly by the network, he has said enough, because he has made the point that, in fact, he went as far as everywhere is marginalized. That's the first thing. And then he made the important point of, in his opinion, release MNK, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, today, it would move everything forward greatly.
Why he said so is that the courts have said so. He's not issuing an executive order or issuing an executive opinion. He is latching his opinion on the judgments and various orders of court. And the question will be, why would federal government not want to obey court orders?
That's the
it
question.
Has always been,
well, as a lawyer yourself,
that question remains unanswered. And it continues to be a sore point anytime this issue of insecurity in the Southeast or any issue around Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is being discussed. The question will always be, the court is federal court. The court is the third arm of the one arm of the government. It's part of government. And the court, in its wisdom, having looked at all the cases and said, release this man. And the federal government will say, we will release him. In whose interest? And for what purpose? And we are seeing the backlash. And we are dancing around it. Looking for solution where solution does not lie.
I hear you.
And overlooking the actual solution that is looking at us in the face.
Taking what you
making mockery of the judicial system and reducing the confidence of the people in the judiciary.
We are now...
And emboldening government agencies to also follow that same line and ignore orders of court.
So we
we a banana republic?
So we now have the log jam of two wrongs not making
No, we are only
right.
trying here to carve out, to squeeze water out of stone.
No,
in a manner of speaking.
We're trying to look at
to
how
find
will
a
the
way
people
to
of the
meander,
Southeast
to meander
be able to vote in 2023.
And push our people. Yori, you talked about collection of PVCs.
Yes.
Sit-at-home order, as unfavorable as it is only on Mondays. This is a continuous process. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, available. These days in the Southeast, there's nothing like weekend anymore because the first business day of the week, has been taken by sit-at-home. So people now work even on Saturdays. At a point, schools were operating and teaching children on Saturdays. When circumstances become, when the there's a way Dr. K. Ombadiwe said it, that when the push comes to shove, then you do the unthinkable things to go through. Nothing stops INEC from even working on Saturdays. to ensure that people come to collect their PVCs. I said earlier, even if it means adopting a motorized approach, use all the faith-based organizations, use the traditional rulers, drop PVCs in the homes of traditional rulers.
Well,
and then they ask people to go there and collect. And the traditional rulers will give you account.
These are some of the ideas.
But the government's arrogance of government. We are government. You can talk to us. You must obey us. Meanwhile, the people feel that this is a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Where are the people in all of this? Let INEC, working in tandem with other agencies of government, work out genuine and ingenious system of making people to collect their PVCs without trepidation.
You know, I hear you, Fred, my friend. And, you know, I say with respect that we can't afford to be emotional when we discuss this, as hard as it may be. Yeah. Because I agree with you when we say we're actually carving out a crevice. You know, we're not addressing the bigger issue, just the crevice that Anambra and all the states of the Southeast, they are Nigeria.
Yes.
And they have Nigerian rights. Yes. And one of the most important of those Nigerian rights is to vote. And something is trying to truncate that. INEC, as you know, has indicated that it is going to do everything to make this a successful election. So we therefore have a problem on our hands here that we have to find a way to sort of just how do we negotiate it. In the meantime, Mr. Olagunju, calling in from Bayelsa, is on the line. Let's take him and hear what his contribution is. Good morning to you, Mr. Olagunju.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you, sir, for calling in.
Good morning, the guest in the house.
Mr. Fred Nzeako.
Fred, okay. Good morning, sir.
Morning, brother.
Okay. This, my little contribution goes like this. You know, in Nigeria, we are having issue of security generally. And if you look at it very well, you know, Southeast is one of the most popular states in Nigeria. And when we talk of security, you know, we're having challenges.
Southeast, it's a region.
It's a region.
Okay.
So the issue is that my own contribution goes like this. If the elders in the states from local government level can come together up to the Igwes and all the prominent people in the states, they can dialogue on all this. Because, you know, in this, maybe for this 2023 election, for a Nigeria to be deprived of his franchise, you know, it looks somehow. There are other people that want to make competition in voting. But because of security reason, nobody wants to lose his life. Are you getting me? So my point is this, let them come together. They can dialogue on this. All these IPOB and other people, they can call them to order. They can dialogue. It's not issue of force or all those things. Are you getting me? They can come together and dialogue and everything will go fine.
Yeah.
So that's my little contribution.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olagunju, calling in from Bayelsa there. I guess there's a sense in which he's sort of throwing my line as well, that look, without prejudice to the larger issue, the immediate one now is that the people of the Southeast who want to vote, no encumbrance should be put in their way. The new ones that are just joining, you know, they can't go and pick up their card. Is there, and you had muted the idea earlier that there are ways, you know, you get all the traditional rulers involved, you know, maybe Ohaneze Igbo, Ohaneze Ndi Igbo that came into the conversation earlier, working with all of these people, even though there are people, you know, Mr. George, for example, and he won't be alone, who have their, you know, their reservations that as important as it is, that organization, that group, that grouping, what they say doesn't tally, according to some people, with what they actually do. But all of that, if everybody comes together to say, we must find a way out of this, what Olagunju is saying, Olagunju is saying is that
the structure of leadership in Igbo land, yes, it's a Republican in nature, but it is etched in strata. In Igbo land, you have every community is organized in town unions. And this community will have what they call leadership of the town union headed by the President General of each town union. Nothing stops INEC from working with the President General of the town unions to get these PVCs down to the people. Nothing stops them. The people come from the communities. They are known. For example, if I go to INEC office today, I say I want to pick my PVC. When they bring out all the cards, you see names and faces that are known to you.
But you have to go to INEC.
Yes, but because
INEC
you
come
don't
to you on that.
collect by proxy. Because you don't collect by proxy.
Yes.
Now, that law, don't collect by proxy, is not cast on stone.
Okay. Okay. So
when we say
so that's the point you are making.
When we say there has to be ingenious ways of getting this thing done. The town union leadership is usually made of responsible people. They usually work, because what government does is the town union leadership works in tandem with the traditional leadership.
So
the traditional ruler and the President General of each town union form the leadership of the town.
So,
all right? And
so with some out-of-the-box thinking, you are saying that, there's a lot of potential.
Out-of-the-box thinking. But when you are rigid on a particular rule, as if all is well, when you talk about ceteris paribus, all things being equal, and you are rigid on that rule, then you are not going to achieve the result.
And the rigidity, let it be said, seems to be on both sides.
Of course.
The government, for instance,
there has to be flexibility.
Nobody can bamboozle the government into doing
nobody can bamboozle the government, but the important thing is that let the PVCs get into the hands of the right people. It's as simple as that.
Mr. Ade in the UK, a fine morning to you, sir, and thank you for holding on.
All right, good morning. Good morning to my brother in the studio there.
Mr. Fred in Zeako.
Mr. Fred, I want to thank you, Mr. Fred, I'm in support of everything you have been saying. Remember, there's one elderly man in Igbo land. I think he's part of the Ohanese. He led a group to President Buhari to appeal to him that he should release Nnamdi Kanu, that he will listen to him. He pleaded with him. Our president make a promise that he's going to look into it. The moment they left, the president changed his mind that it is the court that will decide. Now, court has decided. Still, they refuse. So where is the integrity of the government? What are they talking about? They marginalize the Southeast. That is why they don't put referendum in our constitution. Because if it's there, Nigeria should have been 3 countries by now. So they knew what they are doing. The military who make the constitution, they knew what they are doing. That's why they put they want to also marry by force. Marry by force. That will not happen because this election should be suspended. Government of national unity, let's sit down and talk, like Abe Barola suggested. That is the way forward. Which election, when things are going in disarray, nepotism everywhere. So I support the man in the studio, and I support I don't support violence, but people should have equal rights in Nigeria. That's why we are all Nigerians. No part of the country should be marginalized against the other. So God will bless Nigeria, and God will save Nigeria.
Indeed. Thank you very much for calling in, Ade, calling in from the UK. And quite frankly, everything he said, is understandable and indeed acceptable, indeed desirable. No, but that's a different question altogether.
A whole kettle of
because I made the appeal. Can you please look at the bottom of your screen and look at what we're talking? Look at the tiny little lane that we are trying to address, and he's bringing in the whole state.
He's only looking at it holistically. So you give it to him.
All right.
Because he's looking at it holistically.
Let me
things that he feels that will move this country forward.
Let me take a quick break because from the beginning, you erudite gentlemen were supposed to be 2. Traffic is what it is. So I'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere because Tony Ofoyeton was always on the bill, and Dr. Ofoyeton will be joining us immediately after the break.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
Politics is defined as getting what, where, when, and how. But in the mix, many things come to play to shape the political fortune of any country.
Honorable Minister, that's how you misinform the public.
From the political actors to the electorate, campaign to voting, from debates to policy decisions, big events happen to engage us in constant conversation.
That's what we're looking for. Not some people who are talking about ethnicity. No.
Who is on your mind?
Don't worry.
Join me every day on Politics Tonight, where we dissect issues that shape our political destiny. Politics Tonight, weekdays on TVC News.
Okay, welcome back. And well, we've been joined by Dr. Tony Ofoyeton. Thank you very much, Dr. Ofoyeton, for
my pleasure.
You know, doing whatever it took to get here.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, Emmanuel has called in from Lagos, an area called Command. Good morning to you, Mr. Emmanuel. Oh, we lost the call. Okay. Well, Tony, I mean, we've been at it along with the viewers. And, you know, we wanted to try and limit ourselves, difficult as it is, to the 11 million voters, as our caption says, running the risk of not having a smooth voting experience because people can't come out to pick up their PVCs and all of that. So we're looking at, you know, that statement is really, if care is not taken, 11 million people, you know, run a risk. So I guess the question so that you can join the conversation is that what is the care that can be taken so that this particular situation, this particular danger can be averted? We've had suggestions about involved traditional rulers, Ohaneze Ndigbo. What would be your thought, your idea as to?
I think the first thing is for the average Igbo man to look inward and ask himself or herself, what eventually will I stand to gain, you know, from the whole, you know, saga of daily violence and the so-called sit-at-home order being obeyed.
Which is not from the right source.
Yes, which is not the issue is not whether it's from the right source or not. There are people that are now upholding it and also trying to enforce it on the people. Now, what I expect is for them to constitute themselves into intelligence community, to be able to liaise with the relevant security agencies. These people are not spirits. They stay in houses. They have locations.
You know, people causing the terror.
Yes, those agents of terrorism in those communities. And an average Igbo man is not timid. That's just the truth. So I expect that they should be able to stand against such act. It's not favorable to them. The man that is giving the order, I think is in Finland or thereabout, issuing order to people in the southeast to sit down at home, as at the time he's issuing the order, his work is per hour. He's being paid per hour. If he does not go to work, he will not be able to pay his bills.
Yeah, in the Finland society they have there.
Now you now have somebody like that, under whatever excuse or guide, you know, trying to give you so. As far as I'm concerned, I think it should be a community decision that no, these are not the type of orders we should obey. It's not favorable to us as a community. It's affecting our commerce. It's affecting our safety. It's affecting almost everything, apart from the fact that in the broad play of politics in Nigeria today, where do you put Southeast as it were now?
You know, those are the considerations reportedly that led to Nnamdi Kanu withdrawing the initial the order, the stay-at-home order that he initially supported. Now, having done that, and now it is picked up by someone else, I don't know, is it wrong to now regard those ones as illegal, you know, and criminal?
You know, when you talk about rebel groups also come in little syndicate groups. Just like you have different cells in Boko Haram. You have different cells, and that is why at times such guerrilla warfares, insurrections, and the like they are difficult to curtail. If you don't do it from the beginning, it becomes cancerous. It spreads into the... So those little groups become the different cancerous elements in the body called Nigeria as it were.
Virtually uncontrollable.
Well, I won't say uncontrollable. I think I will look at it from the perspective of the political will of the government as it is now. Because there is nothing like unknown gunmen. I think that is one area that government is getting it wrong.
Okay. All right then.
Yeah,
yes.
Actually, I wanted to ask you as a security expert whether you know the unknown gunmen.
Very well. Now, the truth is that it is not possible for federal government not to be able to identify those that are perpetrators.
So who is now to be held accountable for the unknowingness of the unknown government?
I will put it on the bulk of the federal government. So, the DSS, as it is, have enormous information about almost every average important Nigerian and people that have the capacity to commit any form of threat or have the capacity in any way whatsoever, including you, including me, including Uncle Yori. They all have dossiers of every human being that they think
Thank you very much, Tony. You were not here when I told Yori that the federal government is not doing what they should do.
Yes.
And when I told Yori that it is lack of will on the side of federal government that we are seeing what we are seeing in the southeast. And I'm happy that you said what you said about the capacity of the government to be able to know who the gunmen are.
And you know what we had said is that just as you were saying that you were not holding brief for IPOB, I was saying I cannot, nobody here can hold brief for federal government.
So we are on the same page.
Indeed we are.
On this issue.
And so we come back to the beginning where we said that if care is not taken, you know, 11 million voters would be at risk of
enjoying
with due respect.
I don't know where you get this figure, 11 million.
Well,
that's the total.
That's the total.
Yeah, but it's not going to affect everybody.
It's not going to affect everybody.
Only going to affect
it's only the
people who have not collected their
930,000.
Maximum about 930,000.
Yes.
But I believe that between now and whenever the window will be closed, at least more than or about half of that, should collect their PVC. And if out of the box thinking faculty is put at play, then a lot more people will collect their PVC.
Indeed, well, we've got to go, unfortunately. But gentlemen, thank you for being so understanding. Dr. Tony Ofoyeto, thank you for your gallantry.
I apologize.
As one radio presenter likes to put it, you have choked mouth inside. Thank you very much, Fred Nzeako, legal practitioner, political affairs analyst. That's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.
Season is here again, and you can almost feel the excitement in the air. The best national teams in the world will be battling it out to determine who lives the coveted FIFA World Cup trophy come December 18th, 2022. Wondering what each team's shadow looks like, where they sit in the standings, who will be playing who, and what to expect. We've got you covered with all the previews and reviews you need to stay right on top of everything in Qatar on FIFA World Cup Fans Special Show. Coming live on TVC News YouTube daily for 13 minutes, 15 minutes preview before the match, and 15 minutes review post-match of the day. Keep up with all the actions happening in Qatar with expert match previews and reviews from our seasoned sports pundits. And guess what? You also stand a chance to win loads of exciting prizes when you predict correctly the outcome of the match of the day. To participate in FIFA World Cup Fans Special, subscribe to TVC News YouTube channel. Enter your prediction in the comment section of the match of the day video. Use the hashtag FIFA World Cup Fans Special in your predictions. Finally, include the last 4 digits of your number with your predictions. Let's play!
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
My name is Femi Adeba.